Malayalam cinema is at its all-time high right now. Creatively, it is considered one of the best industries in our country. People are paying attention to what Malayalam movies are doing, what kind of concepts are going to come out of Malayalam cinema. More and more people are becoming aware of Malayalam movies, they're following Malayalam movies. However, I also believe that quite a few movies are getting some unwarranted attention.
There are movies that were hyped a lot, and when you actually saw the movie, it didn't live up to the expectation or the hype created by audiences or makers.
It seemed quite underwhelming. This is a recent one which came out just a few months ago. This movie is called Sarvam Maya.
I also found it slightly underwhelming.
That whole movie was touted like, oh, Nivin Pauly and Aju Varghese reunion. And of course, Nivin Pauly, Aju Varghese is considered like the new age Mohanlal-Shobana.
Absolutely.
They have this really good chemistry between them. There is something which sort of brings a magic to the screen.
ഇപ്പോഴൊരു കാര്യം ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചേ, നിന്റെ ഭാഷയ്ക്ക് ഒരു മാറ്റം വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് കിട്ടണം, അത് കിട്ടണം.
Now, when I started watching the movie, first thing what hit me was Nivin Pauly and Aju Varghese scenes were quite less, and whatever scenes were there, it wasn't as enjoyable. Okay, there were few moments, and also the movie. Look, it largely reminded me of Vismay Tumbathu, which we spoke about quite recently.
In the last episode, that's very recent.
The way they started setting it up, first half and then to the second half, but അവസാനത്തൊരു 15-20 മിനിറ്റ്സ് എല്ലാം അങ്ങ് അടിച്ച് തൂഫാനാക്കി അങ്ങ് തീർത്തു. എല്ലാം പെട്ടെന്ന് റഷ് ചെയ്തു. Suddenly there is another character, she comes up, then there is sort of this romantic angle which comes in, and then it's like എങ്ങനെയെങ്കിലും കഥ അങ്ങോട്ട് അടച്ചു പൂട്ടി തീർത്തിട്ട് അങ്ങ് പോവാം. Second thing is, I feel like when we went and checked out this movie, it was well about to cross 100 crores. So I figured, okay, this movie is actually a decent movie. But after I saw the movie, what I understood was, I think for a while, Nivin Pauly movies were not that good. So suddenly when a half decent movie came out, it just did some mad business.
I think people were really wanting to see Nivin Pauly in his old avatar, and this movie kind of gave a glimpse, but it didn't fully live up to the expectations.
Yeah, this movie had its moments. It had that sort of like quintessential Nivin Pauly, how people remember him and all. But it's just overall that movie became a very underwhelming experience for me. And also that whole relationship at the end they were showing with that girl, like it just seemed very forced, first thing. And second of all, like rebound relationships almost never works. Like she just got out of a relationship, she just had a breakup, and you're like immediately she's going and falling for someone else. Historically, that is proven to be very bad.
Not only historically, logically.
Yeah, when the movie spent an inordinate amount of time discussing atheism versus theism thing.
Also, they started with that idea of atheism, and they just completely abandoned that subplot, and the ending became something else. The ending had no connection to how the movie started, which is why it felt very underwhelming. One movie that comes into my mind is Hridayam, which is directed by Vineet Srinivasan. We've all loved Vineet Srinivasan from his first movies, which is Malarwadi Arts Club and Thattathin Marayathu, and he does the love, nostalgia, romance part very well. The reason why Thattathin Marayathu also worked because he brought a fresh perspective to romance, college romance. Hridayam was supposed to be like Vineet Srinivasan's attempt to do a college romance and talk about the life of a boy who joins an engineering college and how he comes out as a completely different man and how his life changes once he's out of the college. All of that is understood. I liked the concept of the movie, but it is the screenplay and the execution is what I had problem with. The movie was cringe and over the top at the same time. I don't know how that is possible. There are a lot of subplots which has been introduced, but the way it was executed, it just went from 0 to 100 in like no time. Like there is a death of a prominent person in, Pranam Mohanlal's, character's life. That was just unnecessarily dramatic. And then his will it work, will it not work, the relationship he had with Darshana Rajendran's character, which in from a writing perspective, I think they did completely disservice to Darshana Rajendran's character. I think they brought her in only because she was one of the good actors from the whole lot. What made me angry was they kind of gaslit her own character because she broke up with Pranam Monan's character for a reason that he cheated.
And then he lied also about it.
And then I don't think he ever apologized in the movie. But the way they played with like her choice, they made her feel guilty if she made the right choice of breaking up with him, for a very valid reason, which really made me angry. Which also kind of they were trying to say, oh, maybe she could have given him one more chance. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. Also, how casually they treated the career he chose. They kind of candy floss the whole thing. The career he chose, like from a nature photographer to a wedding photographer. I mean, I know people who have struggled, and the struggle is real. But the makers completely sugarcoated it. And also the romance between Kalyani Priyadarshini's character and Pranam Mohanlal's character was very outlandish, was very over the top, very cheesy. The movie felt like a Meesho version of Varnam Ayram. But I think Vineet Srinivasan loves Gautam Vasudev Menon, and he was trying to emulate Varnam Ayram, and he just failed miserably. And the thing is, Varnam Ayram is one of my favorite Tamil films. But here, Hridayam, it just felt flat. And I guess you need to have good actors. I'm sorry. To be able to pull off those emotional scenes, everything just fell flat. Like every emotional part of the movie, which was supposed to be emotional, it could have worked well if they had good actors. Like there's a scene where Pranam Mohanlal's character is having like a proper like a realization that he's now a father. His wife just gave birth to a child. And that scene would have worked so well if there was an actor who was able to channel that emotion. But the whole scene felt flat, completely felt flat, and I didn't feel anything.
For me, Hridayam is a very gentrified coming of age movie. It is a very glossy, touched up. I don't mind actually those kind of things. It's okay. To be honest, I enjoyed Hridayam like that. Sort of something which irked me was കല്യാണി പ്രിയദർശൻ പ്രണവ് മോഹൻലാലിന്റെ ആ ഒരു റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് കാണിക്കുന്ന ഒരു ലോഡ് ക്രിഞ്ച് കുത്തിക്കേറ്റി. ബട്ട് ദെൻ അഗെയിൻ ദാറ്റ്സ് സോർട്ട് ഓഫ് വിനീത് ശ്രീനിവാസൻസ് MO.
But he failed. I mean, it didn't fit at all. It didn't work at all.
What I'm saying is, like someone told me, like Hridayam is a movie that absolutely fits for someone who's yet to get married, because somebody who's married will not be able to relate with it, because the way they showed a married life and how your life with your partner goes, they're like, dude, this movie is like they're like giving you some alternate imaginary version, okay, because that's just not how marriage functions, that's just not how things will be. But like I said, I get why he went with that. Okay, he wanted to do like a feel good thing so for me personally, I enjoyed the movie. The music was top notch.
The only thing consistent in Hridayam was the fantastic background score and original songs by Hisham Abdul Wahab. That kind of elevated the movie experience, but that's it.
So another movie which I found quite underwhelming, especially given the reaction it had and the box office success it got. I saw that movie and I was like, wait, this is like a regular movie. Like, why is there so much of hoopla and noise around it? The movie I'm talking about is Thudarum, the most talked about
Anticipated,
reunion, Mohanlal and Shobana. Thudarum was like a Drishyam thing.
but made by Tarun Murthy.
Yeah, a very Mohanlal movie. Like what Mohanlal have done many times before is there in this. There were definitely the fanboy shots and all. They focus so much on his eyes and all that, right? Like pretty much like how Prithviraj does Lucifer and all that. But other than that, that story was just normal revenge story. In the Padachone, I don't know why they got Shobana. She was, forget underutilized. It was like it's as if she didn't exist in the movie itself.
I mean, I'm guessing they were just using that Mohanlal-Shobana combo just for the sake of it. It was obvious by the time the movie ended.
Yeah, it was like pure marketing gimmick thing. Dude, you have such a wonderful actress with you. Dude, just write something. No, give her something to do. Like seriously, the movie was, I would say, the most quintessential 2000s Mohanlal movie. This was that in 2025. That movie, I don't know, it made like whole lot of money and bhayangara vidum, and they were like, oh, Mohanlal finally one really good Mohanlal movies out and all that.
The thing is, I saw like a regular Mohanlal in that. Dude, extraordinary Mohanlal was in Drishyam. Like if you want to talk about, really something good. Like something that stunned you.
Yeah, this movie, I'm constantly comparing it in my head with Drishyam, and for good reason. The way how that story goes and how they're like, that whole first half, like, oh, very feel good family, and then second half, suddenly the gears have shifted and now it is like, oh, a thriller suspense movie. The story is forcing me to compare it like that.
I think a lot of new directors are so enamored by Mohanlal as an actor. I think they kind of lose grip of what needs to be done.
I feel like everyone romanticizes their affinity and their love for Mohanlal, and they seem to only focus on that. Maybe don't write keeping him in mind.
കഥ ഉണ്ടാവുമ്പോഴും എഴുതുമ്പോഴും ഒരിക്കലും എൻ്റെ മനസ്സിൽ കണ്ടുകൊണ്ട് എഴുതരുത്.
Whatever image, whatever stardom things you have placed about Mohanlal in your head, take all of that out and just write and then give it to him.
God to honest, I think after Thudarum left theaters, Mohanlal did an ad. Dude, that I think small ad showed so much of potential, that Mohanlal still has than the entire Thudarum as a movie. My next pick is 2023 movie RDX. I didn't want to drag my parents into this, but they are the ones who hyped the movie so much for me. Yeah, sorry mom, sorry dad, Amach, I love you. I love all the recommendations you make to me. So Thallumaala worked in 2022. Khalid Rahman's Thallumaala worked, and it worked because of a reason. In between the fights, there is screenplay. There is a story there, and because its screenplay was written well, was connected well, it worked. It didn't feel like people are just randomly fighting. So as using that as a reference, and then you put the story in the 90s, and they just refurbished it, but just with a lot of fights for no reason. I didn't like RDX at all. I simply felt people are just fighting for no rhyme and reason. There's a lot of fight, and somewhere there is one story. That was the movie. And also, yeah, I find Shane Nigam very overrated.
Okay, so first of all, RDX, it's quite obvious, Pottithari explosion. That is the whole reason they went with all that name. Second thing, for me, RDX was like a half movie. Okay,
they had Babu Antony in the movie, and they utilized him for full 2 minutes in the whole movie. I'm like, who does that?
The story it says is that he's all about restraint, and he's all about like, okay, no, you have to just defend, but don't be provocative.
Don't use my martial art to thrash people left, right, and center. Also, Neeraj Madhav's character is actually Babu Antony's character's son. There was no indication of that anywhere in the movie.
For me, I felt like the movie, how they shot, how they edited it, was pretty good. They got some good skilled stunt team and everything, and they did it because that spectacle was there. I suppose people who went and saw it in theaters were like, oh, this looks so nice, this was cool. So I guess that's how that worked. This movie also, lot of people spoke about it. They were like, it's such a gritty, sort of dark movie. Literally തിയേറ്ററിൽ ഇരുന്നത് ഞാൻ കാണുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ, ഇത് എന്ത് മാങ്ങാണ്ടിയൊക്കെ ഇവര് കാണിക്കുന്ന.
Language.
The movie I'm talking about is Officer on Duty.
I also have a lot to say about that movie, but yeah, please go on.
Basic story is Kunjago Bhuvan's character. He's a police officer, and he's sort of being chased by this group of coked up high bunch of students.
Bangalore students.
And in between there are some of his personal emotional struggles he's going through and all that. എനിക്ക് പിടികിട്ടാത്തത് ഇതായിരുന്നു, ഈ ബാംഗ്ലൂരിൽ പോയി പഠിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികളൊക്കെ വഴി തെറ്റിപ്പോണം.
കൊച്ചിയിലെ കുട്ടികൾ നല്ല കുട്ടികൾ.
ദിസ് ഇസ് ദ ഹോൾ ട്രോപ്പ്. പിന്നെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാല് another thing is, ഈ ബാംഗ്ലൂരിൽ പോയി പഠിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികളൊക്കെ ഭയങ്കര ആക്സെന്റോടുള്ള ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഒക്കെ സംസാരിക്കും.
I know who you're talking about.
Officer.
And I'm like, you think if you snort something, suddenly your accent just shifts few continents apart or what? Like, and then for a bunch of coked up people, they are very good at planning stuff, they are good at strategizing, and എത്ര അടി കൊണ്ടാലും വീഴാത്തത്, they are not being incapacitated. Like, dude, I'm seeing like literally their heads are like banging against metal items, എന്നിട്ടും നല്ല വടി പോലെ എഴുന്നേറ്റ് നിൽക്കുകയാണ്. And again, tell me this, you think a police officer who has gotten proper physical combat training against what bunch of coked up college kids the easy ആയിട്ടങ്ങ് അടിച്ചൊക്കെ അങ്ങ് ഇടുന്ന്.
Also, the scene where they snort stuff in open in the bus.
You know, I don't know what ideas were going on when they were writing some of the dialogues, and this whole usage of certain English words and phrases to make it look like they are the cool Bangalorean kids. I felt like they were tightening up the stereotypes. പിന്നെ ഒടുക്കത്തെ awareness. എല്ലാം അറിയുന്നവൻ ഞാൻ, ശംഭോ മഹാദേവ.
എല്ലാം അറിയുന്നവൻ ഞാൻ, ശംഭോ മഹാദേവ.
ഒരു ഫുൾ പോലീസ് ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെന്റും അതിന്റെ റീസോഴ്സസ് ഉള്ള ആ പോലീസുകാരിക്ക് പോലും പറ്റാത്ത അത്ര പ്രിസിഷനോട് കൂടിയാ ഈ കോളേജ് കിഡ്സ് ആർ like functioning.
Even I have a lot to say about officer on duty, but again, yeah, you summed up whatever I had to say.